Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 94 of the M&K Productions Podcast. I'm your host, Mac, joined here as usual by Kristen, aka Miss Flamingo. How are you doing today, Kristen?
I'm excellent. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Almost said 2022, but we are in that new year, Mac.
Yeah, so that
Welcome, y'all.
you know that means new year, new movies, but we still gotta take into fact we gotta remember all those movies that we saw in 2022. We gotta count them down and
The dishonorable.
yeah, well, so for the next two episodes, 94 and 95, we're going to be going over our top 10 best, worst, and best films of 2022. We're a little late on it, and you've probably already seen it on our social medias, but if you haven't, this will be a little catch up and a good lump sum of what we both thought were the best and worst. So for today's episode, we're going to be just hopping right into it, doing the top 10 worst films of 2022. And Kristen, I got to say, this year, not this year, last year was such a long year, but also a short year because there's so many films I forgot about that I didn't even remember was on the list. Like I had to text you saying, "You remember this movie?" And you're like, "Oh my gosh!" But don't you feel that last year was like a blur because you forgot how many movies came out last year?
Yeah, honestly, like most of these films that I put together will all feel like fever dreams that I watched.
Honestly,
Like one of them that comes up is definitely like a fever dream. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I watched that and it wasn't that good. Like some of the stuff I have on here, it's like, oh yeah, it's like reasonable, like laughable at, like, the filmmaking wasn't great. But then I sit there and I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, wow. I watched that. I mean, did you check how many movies you watched like last year?
I kept up with my Instagram and then I fired up my letterbox again, but I did take like a little hiatus from the theaters for I'm out a month or two, so I did miss a lot of movies in theaters, but I ended up watching them like near the end of the year, and like
Yeah.
I didn't review some of them, like I didn't get to review Nope and Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I know I watched them. It's just hard for
Even
me.
The Whale, like I remember, I know you saw The Whale too recently, right?
Yes, and I loved it. It was so made me cry.
I told you it was good. Like last year, from like putting my list together, I saw 122 movies,
Oh my gosh.
and that's of streaming and in theaters. So like last year, like I was watching them like hotcakes, like, and that had to be the most I probably have seen in a long time. Like I don't know what was with me, but I saw a whole bunch. But I'm ready for New Year. I already saw, I think, like four movies already that were released already this year. So I'm off to a hot start, and I'm gonna be watching Sundance virtually. So there'll be more movies to add to my watch list. So yeah, but I'm ready to talk. Are you ready to talk?
Yes, I am. And let's get started with our M&K Productions top 10 of the worst movies of 2022. And I guess I'll get started with my number 10 as I got my paperwork here. So, my number 10 was originally going to be on the best list, but after a rewatch on HBO Max, I just said, yeah, no, I'll put it at 10 because I enjoyed it, but I didn't like it. I didn't think it was that great, and that's gonna be Black Adam.
There's no one on this planet that can stop me. Be prepared. This is gonna be fun. You have no idea.
Black Adam. Experienced in IMAX, October 21st.
Ooh, you're not
So-
the only one who I saw mention that.
Well, here's the thing: Black Adam isn't like terrible. I think it got overly hated on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think that calling it the new Morbius isn't fair because Morbius is like 10 times.
Well, first of all, I haven't seen somebody call it the next Morbius.
No, there's been people saying this is this is DC's version of Morbius. Like, no, people are actually kind of excited for Black Adam. No one gave a shit about Morbius.
And now where's that sequel of Black Adam 2?
It's
That's
got
not
canceled.
coming.
But like,
Oh,
I
I forgot. I forgot what got canceled now. What's going on with this whole DC universe? I'm like, as long as nothing happened to Shazam, then I'm all good.
But like Black Adam, I feel like that I like the action, and Pierce Bronson as Dr. Fate was like a highlight for me. And I like the whole The Rock it's a little different, but not really. And like I kind of feel like that it was just him wanting to do that and just be done with it. Like he was like the hierarchy of DC is gonna change, but the story was just so jumbled and everything. I just didn't really like. It's kind of a mess of a movie, and then the villain, like DC's like movie villains in their extended universe, not counting the Dark Knight or like Man of Steel, they're not really memorable. They're not good.
So I gotta ask, who was the villain? Because I didn't watch Black Adam.
It
Of
was
all the movies I saw,
I
my list.
forgot it was someone who was a descendant of the king that he killed back then, but then he turned into
Ididius Hodge.
no,
Was it
no,
played
no,
by him?
no, no, it wasn't. It was some other guy, and he
Was it
became
Noah Centineo?
no. It was another guy. It wasn't any of the main characters. It was some nameless no name, and he became Satan, and they defeated him. That's the best I can describe.
Satan.
Yeah, so Black Adam was a mess, and then that after credit scene is probably now so awkward. It's so awkward.
It's in there now, and it exists.
Now it's there. It's kind of like the Morbius one. So maybe Black Adam is Morbius. I don't know. But Kristen, what's your number 10?
Okay, my number 10. We did talk about this on the show, but we didn't like fully review it on the show. And that is one of the horror movies that came out, and that is Firestarter, starring Zac Efron.
Charlie, bad men are after us. Burn it all down.
She's a real-life superhero.
She will come for us all. The girl's power is growing.
Please, I can help you.
Liar, liar. Pants on fire.
In theaters Friday, rated R.
That was the movie I forgot came out.
This is also what's written on the poster. Stephen King's masterpiece.
I mean, did you not read it or even the Dark Tower series?
No, like I didn't read. I've read Stephen King books, like Carrie, for example, but I didn't read Firestarter.
Me neither.
And I just knew, like, going in, I was like, all right, we're going to have this, remake of, like, a Drew Barrymore. Zac Efron's in it. And I thought, okay, there was, like, some hype around it. Like, Zac Efron was making posts about it on Instagram.
The thing with Firestarter is, like, I don't know if anyone was asking for it. I remember I was like, I saw the trailer and I thought it looked good, but then I went on Twitter and everyone said this shit looks terrible.
It didn't look good. Like, the advertisement of it all. I like the behind the scenes stuff of what we were seeing, and there was like a lot of hype for it because it was like, could this be good? And it wasn't. The script was absolutely horrible. Like I'm going to say that about all these films for a really bad script, but it did not excel in any way possible. I laughed a lot, especially at the line, liar, liar, pants on fire.
This movie, fun fact for Firestarter, this was the last movie I watched in Myrtle Beach when I had COVID. And I couldn't focus because my nose was running the whole time. So this movie literally gave me COVID.
I mean, yeah, I don't like the girl that they picked out for this film. This is from the producer of The Invisible Man, and I'm just like, dude.
What the hell happened?
Yeah, what happened here? And there was a sign when they released it on Peacock and in theaters. I didn't even get to see it in theaters. It bombed in theaters because everybody was like, all right, we'll watch it at home.
Everyone just watched it on Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, this should have been just a Peacock original. They shouldn't even try. They just should have looked at the project and said, yeah, we should just make this a Peacock original. But I don't like any of the effects. I don't like how the way the story ends.
The ending was really stupid.
Yeah. I hated the ending so much. And knowing how there's like ends ambiguously, how the way the character just takes the young girl at the end, I'm just like, all right.
Sequel bait.
Yeah, they kind of like, there shouldn't have been any idea for a sequel. They should just have been like, all right, the story's over. This girl has to go be with this guy that was almost like gonna kill her. Like, this is like, spoiler if anybody's seen it, I'm sure. I'm not recommending it, but if you want a good laugh, watch it. But
oh yeah, spoiler! We're gonna spoil all these movies. These movies you should not be watching at all because they're shit. But yes, Firestarter is terrible. But Kristen, what's your number 9?
Okay, now jumping to my number 9. This movie is a movie I got to see for free. So thank you to the person who gave me the tickets. I'm not going to say who it was, but I felt so bad for my dad because he's like, "Oh, I'll come and see this with you," since the tickets were free, and it was for the Jessica Chastain, Penelope Cruz, and Lupita Nyong'o movie, The 355, a absolute disaster of an female action movie that disappointed.
That was the movie I texted you saying I forgot that this movie even came out.
I forgot it. This movie made me want to rip my hair out watching it. I was not happy sitting in my theater and knowing what they did to all these characters and knowing what the movie's antagonist and protagonist, like, I did not like anything what this movie was going for. And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna suck it up and enjoy it. And
I don't even know what
I couldn't find any enjoyment of it, which was really, really like stupid. And here's the other thing: it's directed by Simon Kinberg, and Simon Kinberg is not a good director to begin with.
Dark Phoenix.
And the point is, none of these female actors had any sort of chemistry. What they did with Sebastian Stan, they had the nerve to make him a villain in this, and the worst underdeveloped villain, and it's just wasted, completely boring. And Sebastian Stan can play a villain. We've seen him play villains in like a lot of great films, but this one is where it's the worst, and it's all slow moving, and it doesn't want it. It tries to get its main message across, but it fails. And there's not much substance, and it's pretty predictable in the end. Like, I just remember throwing my hands up in the air and just being like, what the heck is going on with this film? Like, why is this so slow? Why is even the cinematography just so awful for a film like this, where it's just also shaky and the action scenes feel so out of place? And I remember like Jessica Chastain being like, "Oh, this is so supporting women."
I'm noticing a trend with that. I'm noticing a trend with that. Elizabeth Banks.
I mean, I'm all for that. If you want to support, if you want to make a great female action movie, you can. I mean, like, we've seen it with Katniss and Terminator films, but my goodness, this does not do anything. Even Atomic Blonde is like better than what, you know.
I think Atomic Blonde's better than a lot of those ones, to be honest with you.
Yeah, even Wonder Woman, like, all these had like better like action sequences for a female spy action film. It's like much better than like the 355, and it was just awful. And I was like, I see why. Well, the 355 was a January release.
Also,
it's a shame because Penelope Cruz and Lupita Nyong'o are just like excellent actresses.
Also, shout out to Faye Bingbing for filming all her scenes in green screen. Got to really pay back that Chinese tax.
Yeah, gotta love that.
Oh,
and I love how she just shows up towards the very end.
I told you,
like out of nowhere. I was like,
they green screened her in.
For her character.
She's got to pay off those taxes. You're gonna be in any movie you can to get you paid.
All right, what's your number 9, Mac?
So my number 9, noticing a trend with Marvel this year. Marvel last year was very a lot of misses. A lot of misses. If this was like TV shows, there'd be much more. But at number 9, I put Thor. I put Thor: Love and Thunder. I did not like that one at all.
Yeah, that was a stinky.
I will create a world of suffering and pain. Run.
On July 8th.
This ends here and now.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Only in theaters July 8th.
This is what happens when you give your directors a little too much creative freedom. And I feel like that's why Marvel's very in-house with the directors. And a lot of the directors that they get from like an outside, they usually kind of clash their style. But the thing with Taika is that like Ragnarok was good. But
Ragnarok is like the best Thor movie.
The problem was that they're like, okay, Ragnarok was good. You got interest in Thor again. So just double down on it. And I'm gonna say it. I love Natalie Portman. I think she's a fantastic actress. This was so out of left field bringing her back as female Thor, and then
I didn't like how they brought her back. I thought
Yeah.
she was one of the worst. Nobody cared
yeah, because it's
until like
and the thing is, it was only one thing. She's dead in the movie. She died. Like if this was like the long-term plan to bring her back, and like because we all thought, oh, Chris Hemsworth's gonna die. Nope, he's fine. And it's just like she died, but like they just brought her back for fan service. I'm like, was there any fan service for character? And they completely wasted the performance of Christian Bale.
yeah, that was like
one of the biggest missed opportunities I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, to go from knowing he played the Batman and then being in like a Marvel movie, that's like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be in a Marvel. Like, and he was really good in all the scenes that they had.
Yeah,
they just were like,
all 10 minutes he had in the movie, and the comedy they relied way too much of that.
Oh, that means you did not like the screaming goats.
Yeah, that's like a meme for 2013. Yeah, and then the visual effects were hot shit. Like
yeah,
I know the one you saw with the kid that looked like a Bollywood movie. No, that's in the movie. That's in the movie.
I think we're also going to see that as a trend, like a couple of movies that had bad visual effects.
Like I don't know. Everyone was really excited, but the thing with Love and Thunder,
I wasn't. I was just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna suck this up because Natalie Portman's in it, and I don't like her character.
With Love and Thunder, if it was just him with the Guardians, like in that first couple minutes of the movie, I think this would have been a fantastic movie because I love the opening scene. If it was more of that, perfect.
That's the strongest. The first half of the film is the strongest. Like the first, I want to say 30 minutes are the best for that film, and then it just goes downhill from there.
It just
even the Russell Crowe scene could have been better, which I hate to say.
I mean, the only funny part is when he flicked his clothes off. He's like, "You flicked too hard, damn it!" And I was like, "Oh, pee penis joke. I get it." But but yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. Marvel was very missed last year. But my number 8 is a film that my dad and I are an exclusive club. We are 2 out of 5 people that have seen this movie, and that is Blacklight with Liam Neeson.
Right.
Did you watch Blacklight?
No, I did not.
Well, you're missing out on nothing. But
I bet I'm not.
I will give this credit to Blacklight. It was better than a certain video game movie that's later down the list because it was more exciting, even though it was still boring. Like with Liam Neeson movies, you have to expect you kind of expect what you're gonna get, and like the only thing that's different is that his character had OCD and he's also a killer. So I mean that made it kind of cool because like he was so paranoid that he has a daughter and a granddaughter, and the granddaughter's like taking after him, and his daughter's like, excuse me, you can't, your granddaughter is drawing security cameras in her pictures. What is that? And it's just like so dumb. And then like it tries to be a political thriller and it doesn't work because you don't really care for the stakes, and they kind of explain what he does because he doesn't work for the government. He's off the books, but it's just like it's so confusing, and like it was so boring. I don't even remember. Like this is sitting at like a 6% Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like a very low rating.
I remember when it was released, and I was just like, okay, I think this is a movie I'll watch down the road, and I just did not.
No one watched it because I
remember there was even a time where Liam Neeson was going to be like, I'm going to stop doing all of these action
movies.
He
did, and he's back because he knows it makes.
Now he's back,
and it's just like it looks so cheap. But yeah, that's my number 8. What's your number 8?
My number 8, oh my goodness, this is just the first Netflix film that made this list. But I was very late to the game watching this film, and I stayed away from it for this reason. But Judd Apatow's The Bubble was just a train wreck. Like, if you want to talk about a COVID movie, then that's a COVID comedy. Nothing says laughs like going back to the COVID pandemic. Having all the having your fears on a film set, and just like I don't know what Judd Apatow was doing for this film. I just think he was just like on this critical high, thinking like, oh, I couldn't do no wrong. And to be fair, in 2020, was it The King of Staten Island made my best list.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved that film. But when this is your comeback film, and to make it something like this, and to even prank audiences, like we would be like, oh, this is gonna be like this dinosaur comedy thing, and it just did not do any good. We had stars like Pedro Pascal, Keegan Michael Key, was it his wife, Leslie Mann, and Karen Gilligan, and David Duchovny, like I think it's Iris Apatow,
Oh, his
because he's got
daughter.
2 daughters who are also in the business.
If I'm not
And
mistaken, didn't you say this was like movie 43?
it has definitely could have elements of movie.
It's like one of the
Like,
worst movies of all time.
it definitely is one of the worst comedies, but
Oh
the
God.
story isn't that good. I mean, it's like the way it's filmed, it's like the elements of shooting a film under COVID protocols, and just the people that are in it are just so unlikable. Like, all the actors are superficial. Like, we got like an influencer, like TikTok influencer superstar, and then we got, that's played by I guess that's Iris Apatow. I think that's her name. And then you got like the female actress who's been in stuff for a long time, and that's like Leslie Mann, and then Pietro. Like I'm very upset how Pietro got pulled into this film. Like, he was on such a high with his career,
Like
and then
I think he seems like a nice. Well, it looks like he's a nice guy. So I guess he's like, if you just ask him, he'll do it because he seems like he's just cool to work with.
and it's a shame because at the same time, this came out first, and then the unbearable weight of mass talent came out, and his comedy chops and works. His timing was great in that film. I don't know what the heck happened here, and he was definitely not the worst part of the film, but it's a disappointing performance from him.
Mhm.
And I didn't care about any of these people. Like, I just was like, why am I wasting 2 hours of watching these people like run around on set, just being obnoxious as hell? But I just was like, I just
I don't know.
couldn't
I think a
stand
lot
this.
of the
I didn't even laugh once at this thing, and I was just like, I never want to. And also, I explained this into, I think it was, I don't know what it was, like a TikTok thing I did,
Mhm.
or on my Instagram or something. But it took me like 3 days to get through it, because I was just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I eventually finished it, and I was just like, I feel like I deserve an award for that, like a Medal of Honor for going through. Because it took me so long to get through, because I just didn't want to finish it. So, but definitely, The Bubble, one of the worst.
Good old Bubble.
Yeah, don't watch it. And like I said, I was very late. Like, it came out April 1st, and I eventually like watched it like
That's a joke. It was a joke. Judd Apatow was playing April Fool.
like October, November, I think it was. I watched it. I was just, like I said, I avoided it so long, and then eventually it was like, all right, let me just see what all this is about. It was definitely stupid. All right, Mac, what's your number 8?
No, it's your turn. 7.
No, oh, you did. Oh, my number 7. Okay, my number 7. Do you remember the time when Ben Affleck and Dana Armas were a couple?
Yes, for like a brief period, and he got like a cardboard cutout of her and had to throw it away.
That was a thing, and they starred in a movie on Hulu called
Yep.
Deep Water,
Awkward.
and
They did that as they were together, right? And it just happened to release after
yeah,
they were
they
done.
just fell in love during while making that, and that movie is something else.
And it worked out because he's back with Jennifer Lopez, you know?
Yeah, that's love. I don't know what is. And this movie is from the same director or writer as Cruel Intentions, Adrian Lin. Yeah, there was the director of Fatal Attraction, movie released back in 1987, and Flashdance. And then we have this. And I don't know what kind of stuff this director was thinking. And it's funny because I'm sitting here looking at the Rotten Tomato score. They're all the audience score and the tomato score are almost on the same route. The tomato score is a 36% and the audience score is a 24%. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're on the point. And it's based on the novel from the author of Patricia Highsmith, who wrote The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows like this marriage of a perfect couple. And Armita Armis plays the wife, and then Ben Affleck plays her husband. And she's like, she plays someone who's very flirty. And this movie had the big Euphoria star, Jacob Elordi.
That guy, yeah. You mean no, not Euphoria star, the kissing booth, Jacob Elordi. Holy
yeah,
shit.
correct.
Let's go.
Let's go. And yeah, he was not good in this film. Like, he's only in it, like, you know, they allude, like, if you watch the trailer, somebody dies. I'm gonna spoil it right now. He's the one who dies because Ben Affleck gets this rage, and he's like, "Oh, you're flirting with my wife. I'm gonna kill you," and he does. And then also like Finn Wolfhard is in it, and Armor Day Armis, she just like, I think gets, from what I remember watching this, because I watched this the day it drops because I was just like so excited to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, two beautiful people, Ben Affleck, you know, and Armor Day Armis. What could go wrong? And a lot got wrong. And she got off like from Ben Affleck from being like this like beat up guy because she like, I think it was like she liked the jealousy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like the sexual tension, and I was just like, this is just stupid. This is like Lifetime movie garbage.
Oh no.
Like, it felt like Lifetime moviness just with pretty people. So like, I was just like, my brain felt like mashed potatoes kind of after watching this. Like, there was nothing even intriguing about it. And it's over a film that's over 2 hours long, and then you're just like, and I'm sitting here trying to think back what happens in the end. I don't even remember what even happened in the end. I think there was like some kind of car accident. I should look up these notes what happened in the end, because now I'm getting curious what happened in the end. But don't watch it. It's dumb. I don't think nobody cared about it because they were supposed to release this in theaters because it was a 20th Century Studios film, and then they moved it to Hulu. And this was like released right after Fresh, and I was just like, oh my gosh, people gotta watch Fresh because Fresh is so good. And then I was like, okay, this is gonna be like this next great thriller, just like how Fresh was. And it's not. I think there was like, I think about a car accident. Yes, I'm reading it back. Yeah. All right, well, it's got death and neuroticness to it. So if you like that, then watch that. It's something.
Just something.
But yeah. What is your number 7?
Oh my god. So number 7. Freaking the last whimper of a franchise. And honestly, I think if this is the end, you know, what a ride. And that is Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh no. I did see someone put it on their best list. I won't say who, but I was just like, are you sure about that decision? But anyways.
But yeah, like, dude, I'm not even a fan of these Fantastic Beasts movies. And like, this one, the only redeeming quality is Mads Mikkelsen. I'm a huge Mads Mikkelsen fan.
He's a good actor.
He is amazing. But he could even say this movie was so like incoherent, boring, and I'm like, damn, I don't even know which one's the worst Fantastic Beasts movie. This might be it. And like, I just didn't like it. If this is the end of the series, thank God. And if Harry Potter can take a break, I will be happy.
Harry Potter should take a break. I mean, no, I'm gonna probably get some tomatoes thrown at me now that I said that, but it does.
It needs a break. Because you get the author going out every other week making changes, saying homophobic comments, and then like freaking the movies aren't that well anyway. Then it's like, just give it a rest. Let it rest, then do something. Because like these Fantastic Beast movies from the jump, people are like, oh, the first one was good. I'm like, the first one was like lukewarm. The second one was, and then the whole Johnny Depp thing happened, and you had to recast the person that people wanted to see in the movie.
Yeah, and like I said, like what you mentioned, it doesn't help with what J.K. Rowling says, or
Yeah.
you got actors coming and going and changing up, some casting news, and it doesn't help. So I understand that.
Yeah, but Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of dumb shit. But what's your number 7, Kristen?
I said my number 7, but my number 6.
Oh wait, number 6
is your turn.
Oh yeah, number 6 is another. There's 2 franchises back to back list. You want to guess what my number 6 is?
Is it Morbius?
No, it's Jurassic World Dominion.
We're on the verge of extinction.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist.
Oh man.
So I enjoyed the first Jurassic World. I know people are like, it's just nostalgia bait, but I really enjoyed it. But the second one, I've gone on record saying I hate Fallen Kingdom. I think it sucked. And then this one, like, oh my god, like you want to talk about a bland summer blockbuster movie? Holy shit.
I remember when we talked about it on our show with Rod and Ben.
Yeah, I didn't.
For our episode.
Yeah, Jurassic World Dominion, because I didn't like it. I thought that this was a very flat conclusion, and I felt like that this was 2 movies meshed into one, because I felt like they wanted to do a 2-parter for the finale, but they're like, damn, we don't have time for that. So because you got the old
COVID too, as well.
You got the old cast with Goldblum, Dern, and Neil, Neil, and then you got the new cast who we've known for the world, and then they're on 2 separate adventures, and then they combined for like the last like couple minutes of the movie, and I was like, oh,
the very final act of the film is when they all come together.
Yeah, but like
they save the day.
It feels like it was gonna be 2 movies, because it feels like it's gonna be like an Owen and Claire movie with the girl who ruined everything in the second one, who by the way didn't like her in this one either. And then the second movie was going to be about Sam and all of them, and then they're going to combine at the end of it or something. Like this felt like 2 movies, but it didn't do well. I didn't care about the villain or anything. It didn't make sense. And then the Locust plot was really not fleshed out. It sucked. But yeah, Jurassic World Dominion. If this is it, what a run! Jurassic World, Jurassic Park. You had a good run.
It was interesting to see how kind of like it's gone on this unique swerve of a ride, because the first one, it changed the game to bring back a huge franchise. It was like it made it like $1 billion in like 2015, and it was like, wow, there's an audience who really digs dinosaurs. And then they went down again. They were going off a steep hill, and then it was like, uh-oh. And then they let go and fell into the mud at the very last, film, Dominion. Like, I just did not like it. I could see why, but it didn't make my worst list. Another big, I don't want to say how big this film was, but my number 6 goes to the one and only Dr. Michael Morbius.
That is way too high in your list. Holy shit.
People are strange. People all over the world have my disease. To find a cure, we have to take the risks. When you're strange.
What's happening?
I don't know. I feel more alive than ever. But there's something inside of me who wants to hunt and consume blood.
Morbius, a new Marvel Legend arrives only in theaters.
Yeah, number 6 definitely went to Michael Morbius. I have some other the movies that I'm going to mention later on. You'll see how I stand with them, but I put Morbius as number 6 only because I just thought, wow, is this film so cringy in the terms of way it just made me laugh as a human being, and I was just like, oh, this Jared Leto performance is not good. And then the fact that they had the nerve to release it back in theaters, and then director Michael Espinosa, knowing he was releasing spoilers on it on Twitter, you remember that?
That man did not give a shit.
And knowing how long it was delayed.
It was delayed for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They were like, all right, well, we're just going to release it now. Like, I haven't seen a bad comic adaptation since, like, Fantastic Four. And I'm not, and like, this is one of the worst ones. Like, where it's like the whole marketing was like a mess.
What the
like
meme...
Josh Trank, disaster that was.
No, I think this was worse because they really wanted this to be like different than it. And like I think we knew from Fan Four Stick, like there was at least an optimistic that it was going to be good, but it turned out like that. With Morbius, there was no optimism. Everyone looked at it like, who asked for this? Like no one was excited for Morbius. And then the fact that the internet made it a meme to the point where Sony's like, we're going to re-release it in theaters, and it only made $88,000 was the icing on the cake. And then there was a Kickstarter. There was a sign on change.org to have them release it for a third time because they were.
I was just gonna say that there's a third chance and nobody's gonna go. They're just gonna have it just play
empty theater.
Like,
I would be the dollar.
Want to come see it?
But no, Morbius is a disaster. Like Jared Leto, he really showed his ass in this movie.
He was showing his colors with this performance. And
like,
Matt Smith too. Matt Smith. I mean, if you want to see something comical, is Matt Smith's dancing.
I feel bad for him because he said he got convinced by Karen Gillian to do a superhero movie, and what a movie to start with Morbius. I think half of
he had the chance. Like, here's the thing: I could see Matt Smith joining the Marvel universe,
MCU,
maybe doing something like a Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like I think he knew that this movie was going to be trash, so that's why he just gave up. So when he was dancing, I was like, "You have won the movie." And then, are we going to talk about the end credit scene?
The freaking Michael Keaton, and when it was like advertised, it's like,
yeah, because the trailer for the Morbius, because here's the thing with the Sony movies. They don't know. They don't even know what universe it takes place in. It's either in the Raimi universe, it's in the MCU universe, it's in the Garfield universe. We have no idea what universe, because in the trailer you saw Tobey's Spider-Man. They have the Daily Bugle. They mentioned Rhino. Then Michael Keaton from the Tom Holland movies are there, and then they mentioned Venom. And it's like, what timeline? Because apparently, I looked it up. The timeline of Morbius is that it takes place a little bit after Venom 2018. So this is between Venom, because like they cut out the line too. They said, "Who are you?" He's like, "I am Venom." And he's like, he doesn't say, "Just kidding, it's Dr. Michael Morbius." He just says, "I'm Venom." I was like, knock, knock, let the devil in.
And it's funny. I'm gonna shout out my fiance. Hello, Dylan. One of the most things like my fiance did not see this movie. And one of the movies he quoted the most was Morbius.
From the trailer.
I am Venom.
He's like, but I am Venom.
Yep.
Kidding, it's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
I'm gonna shout out to Sony for making them having him fiance quote of films that like.
And now we're gonna be doing it again with Kraven the Hunter, where he's an animal lover.
Wow.
With Aaron Taylor Johnson. Good luck, Aaron. Hope that works out. Hope you have James Bond to fall back on. Who the hell are you, Matt?
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
All right, Kristen, what is your number 5?
All right, we're going to travel to Disney Plus for our number 5 with the dishonorable and horrible mess of what is Robert Zemeckis' take of Pinocchio, which is one of the many Pinocchio films that everybody was treasured with it this past year. But at least we got one good Pinocchio. But for this one, this Robert Zemeckis, it did not excel in any capacity. This was just a obnoxious take on the beloved young boy puppet, and I thought it was horrible, from the animation itself to all of the performances, the direction. Nothing of this new remake of Pinocchio was magical. It wasn't fun. The songs are obnoxious. I mean, we got the Pinocchio. Do you remember that?
I barely remember anything from this movie.
That was like one of the worst Tom Hanks songs I've ever heard him perform in my entire life. And Tom Hanks has been in other Disney movies in the past, including like one of my favorites, Saving Mr. Banks.
Yep.
And it wasn't good. I never thought I would see a bad Tom Hanks performance. It's a bad performance of Geppetto and just
Joseph Gordon-Levitt should have been it.
And then all the Disney nostalgia stuff in it, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. Like, did you see all the clocks that they incorporated?
Oh my God, yeah.
They're like, we're phoning it in, folks. You love nostalgia. Look at these Mickey ears that are in the clocks and all the walls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but nothing in this live action Pinocchio was pretty good. I don't know what was going on, but the ending was just stupid. Like, I don't know, with the tear, like the way that they did the whale stuff, it wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't good. It was not good. There was a reason why they just went the streaming route and not the theatrical route, because this movie would not have made its money back. Let's be honest. So they took a risk. But then again, this is not the first live action Disney Plus original. We got, Lady and the Tramp. And then we also are going to get the Lilo and Stitch live action remake. And that's making me a little nervous, Mac.
Yeah, that's going to be horrifying. I'm scared of Little Mermaid because I know it'll make money, but it does not look good so far.
I'm not too scared about the Little Mermaid because I think that one will be serviceable given the cast. But
well, you can say that about a lot of their ones, but it doesn't really matter.
For something like Lilo and Stitch that's very near and dear to my heart, I'm just very nervous because I'm a Lilo and Stitch freak.
I know you love Lilo and Stitch.
So Disney Plus, you're on a tightrope right there. So Mac, what is your number 5?
So my number 5 is something that was near and dear to my derriere, and that is Rob Zombie's The Munster. So I've gone on record saying that I love Rob Zombie. I'm a big metalhead, and I like his movies. Most of it. I think.
Have you seen Rob Zombie in concert? I know people who have gone to his concerts.
I've been to one concert. That was not Rob Zombie. That was 10 years ago. But I like to listen to his music and everything. But I think his movies. I think what I like about him is because you can tell it's a Rob Zombie movie. This didn't feel like a Rob Zombie movie. This was a porn parody that was titled The Munsters. And the worst part is like I can't even be like angry like I hate it. It's more like Rob. I think it's better he did it because you can tell this is a love letter to the Munsters. He grew up watching the Munsters, and it's good to have be able to live your dream, make the movie you want to make based on something you love. But this was not it. He can't do comedy. This was a very low budget misfire of a film.
Yeah. I remember talking this for actually our Halloween special with James, but James did the right thing and didn't watch it, but he was like, "Oof, you guys did not like that," and we were like, "No."
Nope.
But actually, just to stem onto that, my number 4 is The Munsters as well.
Oh, there you go.
So mine is just ranked lower on mine because I did not have fun with this. I was thinking about the way that Rob Zombie took it, like you said, and I think we said in our review too that it was a love letter, but I think Rob Zombie was the wrong director for it. And I even think in our initial review for it, we discussed how somebody who should have been like a script supervisor or somebody should have gone on board with Rob and helped him with the comedy elements. And this film is also way too long, and some of the acting itself isn't that good because Rob brings on his signature actors that he's worked with and casts them in his film, and it's just a little screwy all over the place, and it's just this long drawn out sequence of the origin story of the monsters. And it's not really funny for kids, even. Like, it's like a really also a bad version of a TV movie.
Yep.
So, yeah, I did not like or nor enjoy the monsters. So, that's my number 4. But Mac, what is your number 4?
All right. So, what was your number 5? Pinocchio. Okay. So, number 4. So, since you did your number 4, my number 4 is something that we've chronicled this during the podcast, even before you. This is BK before Kristen. I was keeping tabs on this movie. I told everyone, I said, give it a shot. Maybe this won't be bad. Then the casting was announced. I said, okay, little concerning, but it could still be good. I'm excited. Trailer came out. It's like, oh, and then the movie came out, utterly boring. And that is Uncharted. I don't even want to call it the name because it doesn't deserve to share the name of one of my favorite game franchises of all time. Uncharted is number 4. I hate Uncharted.
I've been dreaming about this my whole life.
On February 18,
The biggest treasure that's never been found. 5 billion easy.
follow the clues.
They're on narrow pointing this way.
Take yourself.
Yeah, we should go that way.
Discover the secret.
Shouldn't play with the big boys, Ian, because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
What?
And find your fortune.
Don't crash.
Uncharted, rated PG-13, exclusively in movie theaters.
That burning passion of Uncharted.
I played all 3 games. You're like, when I reviewed it and I said I didn't like it, they're like, oh, you shouldn't compare it to the games. You should compare it to his own movie. Okay, yeah, it's his own movie. It sucks.
Yeah, and as someone as you are a true fan of it, and I played the Uncharted games as myself. I played all of them, even 4 and the final game that came out as well. And the film was kind of disappointing. I didn't think it was one of the worst, but it was definitely disappointing to say the least.
It was so boring. I've never been in an action movie and the theater's silent. That is a rare, especially when like the ending action scene, it was like, oh, I heard the Uncharted song, I got excited. No one else said anything. I was like, interested. And then the fact that I'm the only one in the theater was like, oh my gosh, it's Nolan North.
Yeah. I was like, I did the same thing with my fiance. I was like, Dylan, look, it's Nolan.
I felt like such a loser because I was the only one that freaked out all day. I was like, screw all you guys.
They're like, I'm here for Tom and Mark Wahlberg.
That's another thing. Horribly miscasted. Like, I got nothing against Marky Mark or Tom, but in no way, shape, or form should they have been Drake and Sully. It should have been Nathan Fillion and De Niro. Like, yeah, Nathan Fillion, the fan film, literally perfect casting. Everyone's like, perfect. Yeah. And that would have been it. But, like, they want to market it.
And Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang should have been Sully.
Literally, but they wanted to go with the mainstream audiences, where mainstream audiences don't give a shit.
But I think mainstream audiences would have been attracted to it because of its comic book adaptation, and I think if it got the good reviews, video game. I'm sorry, excuse me. Sorry, my brain was thinking comic book.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's just like, and then to be an action movie and being so dull, like there's no rising moment around like, ooh, everything. And then to have like a little villain fake out scene was like, what the hell? Like you're like, oh, spoiler, that wasn't the villain. We got you guys.
Yeah, I didn't like that part either. I was like,
the fact that we might get a sequel really pisses me off.
And also that hint at the end because of that. So,
well, the funny thing is, it's like the director said, oh, this is based on the 3rd and 4th game, mostly the 4th game, but then it ends and it's supposed to set up the 1st game. And I'm like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, they did this like out of sequence. I think what it should have been, it was like a whole different roadmap or like something. Like the one thing I remember reading, and I don't know if we talked about this, but Mark Wahlberg was going to be
Nathan Drake.
Like,
and like I knew that because like if this movie was made like 15 years ago, he would have been Drake.
Yeah, and that would have been great casting, and Mark Wahlberg.
I don't know that because he did Max Payne, and that kind of sucked.
Oh, still, but he would have had them stuff. But maybe there's a way we can go back a little bit and get a new Uncharted film. I don't know, but
It would have to be new writers and then someone who actually like we need to cast someone that actually like would be a make good Drake because with Tom Holland, it's just I'm seeing Spider Man as Drake. I'm not seeing Nathan Drake.
Yeah, and that's I guess also this is also I'm gonna say this right now. This might be because we have since typed Tom Holland as this young character, and we all know him as Spider-Man. And I see he's trying to get into like Tom Cruise style
But
action
it's
hero,
hard
but it's hard to break out of that mold.
because the only Spider-Man actor to do it well is Andrew Garfield. I'd probably say
because he was also doing like other projects in between that time, and that showed off his skills. And he was like a theater kid, and
I was like, Tom really hasn't done a lot that like it's like, oh man, that's besides Spider-Man. It's like
he also
Cherry was.
Oh, go ahead.
Cherry was okay. Devil All the Time was okay.
I like Devil All the Time a lot.
Chaos Walking was terrible.
Chaos Walking was just.
So it's like there's not really a lot of stuff like outside of Spider-Man for him to like really hang his hat on. It's kind of hard.
He's gonna be starring on a new Apple show, so we're gonna have to see how he does there. But that is your number 4.
Yes.
All right, let's go to your number 3.
So number 3, this is we're getting into shit of like Mike Rowe's dirty jobs. But number 3, it is another destroyer of a franchise, which started off well in 2018, and it comically ended horribly in 2021, and then it just wrapped up with a nice bow on the top to just complete this disaster, and that's Halloween Ends.
Oh my Lanta!
You want to talk about a movie that no one had any
faith in
because of the disaster that when you make Halloween Kills look good in comparison, you screwed up. Like with Halloween Ends, the problem I have with,
dies tonight.
Yeah, with Halloween Ends, the problem I have with it is that they're not truthful in the advertising because you think, oh, it's gonna be Michael and Laurie fighting, but nope, we get a new character who becomes Michael Myers light,
little young brother twin.
Yeah, he's like, and then because it's like, I got no offense to what was his name, Corey. Yeah, we'll call him Corey. Corey, like, I thought with better writing, his character could have been more fleshed out, and maybe if we introduced him like in the previous films, maybe. But the fact that he just was in this film and we just had to speed run through his character just to get to the fight between Laurie and Michael was kind of dumb, because they both take a backseat because they're following the granddaughter and
falls in love with him.
Yeah, and I'm like,
his broken soul.
Yeah, and then he just flips the script and like, oh, I'm killer now, and he finds Michael Myers, and Michael doesn't kill him, so he's like, you're my son now. They become like father and son.
I enjoyed. I'll say I prefer Halloween Ends over Halloween Kills.
I don't know, man.
But I don't know. That one didn't make my list.
I didn't like Halloween Ends, and then the ending was pretty funny to me too because the way they had to kill Michael was just like, and Michael's not dead.
Freaking
he's not dead.
Chopper.
Yeah, he's not dead too.
He lives.
He will find a way.
Never dies. He will, even if he comes out like paper mache, like somebody tapes him back together. He's like, I'm still here.
Oh,
where's Laurie?
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is a film. It's an independent film that I feel like nobody heard of, and it's called Stoker Hills, directed by Benjamin Lewis. Have you heard of this film?
Not even close.
Okay, so I got to review this for Sip Pop, and because I was given a screener for it, and at the time I was thinking, oh, maybe we could review this for the podcast, and good thing we didn't because it was terrible. So it's like a found footage horror film. So think of like Chernobyl Diaries, the Phoenix Forgotten, Unfriended, the Blair Witch Project.
Besides Blair Witch Project, you're naming some absolute classic films. We all remember those films, right?
Phoenix Forgotten.
Yeah, but we didn't forget it.
Oh wow. But it's like a film where it's like it's so uneven that it doesn't know if it wants to be a crime, mystery, or a horror film.
Why does that sound like The Snowman?
I mean, it could be, but it's got these 2 college kids. They're like filmmaker students, and their like nightmares come to life. And what is it? The Candyman himself, Tony Todd is in the film as a
What?
film teacher, and the twist at this ending is so bad. You know, where you just want to take your head and you just go take the palm of your hand and just go like that. You like, I'm gonna just like turn on the camera so you see what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just go like this.
Like no, oh, the face palm. This
The
sounds
face palm, and you're like, no,
so.
like no way, like this can't be, and it was so bad. It's not scary. This hooded figure man, I got here is not barely in it, but Tony Todd is barely in it, and none of the cast stands out, especially in like any of the performances. And like there's
Now,
detectives involved. That's stuff that we've seen before. And I don't even know what this film's message is. It's just so unwatchable.
Let me correct me if I'm wrong. This sounds like urban legends. This is like a modern term of urban legends. They see their nightmares come to life, and they have a film teacher who like teaches those stuff.
Yeah. But actually, I'm going to give you guys the ending. So it's basically like, the point of it is they're making a movie in a movie.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like the kids in this film class, like they brought this like monster to life, like serial killer to life. And then that's the end. And then the ending, it shows like the whole class clapping at the end of like, and you see the two college students like giving everybody high fives, like, yeah, or whatever. We did it, guys, we did it. And I'm just like, that's what I mean by my face palm to the face. I was just like, wow, thanks for wasting my time, Benjamin Lewis. Like it's not scary. Like don't watch this unwatchable horror crime movie. Spend your time. And this was another thing. This was also released this like same time of the month where Scream was released.
Oh no.
So I was like, go spend your money on that. Don't waste your time renting Stoker Hills. So that's my number 3. So yeah, don't watch it. Well, did you give your number 3?
Yeah, it was yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right, so you want to jump to your number 2?
Number 2 is Morbius for me.
Oh, that is ranked much lower on
Morbius. Like I mentioned it before, I'm not going to get that much to it. I already covered it. Like Morbius, no one was really excited for it. It was just a mess of a film. I didn't know what it wanted to be. Heavily edited down. I feel like this was supposed to be rated R, but then it got cut down to PG-13, like butchered hard. And then after credit scene made no sense. Jared Leto really was like, let's make a terrible movie again. I'm scared now for it. No, more BS. They best rename this shit to More BS.
Oh yeah.
But I'm scared for the Tron movie. I was excited for the Tron movie with him, but now I'm terrified. But you know, Morbius was just an utter disaster, and the fact that the Morbin Time meme came out is the more notable thing that this movie contributed, because we're never gonna get another Morbius movie. And like I said, Kraven the Hunter, when that comes out, and that's the new Morbius, Sony just needs to contract and get rid of all of their all of their stuff and just
they're hanging tight on that money.
All they have is Spider-Verse and Spider-Man. That's it. But that's my number 2. What's your number 2?
My number 2, I think, is going to be your number 1. So my number 2 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. This is the Netflix film directed by David Blue Garcia.
You know me too well because that is my number 1.
All right, we'll get into yours, number 1, then as I explain mine. But this was another terrible garbage remake of the. I don't want to say beloved, because this man.
No, it is beloved. The first one.
Well, yeah, but like the character himself, he is like a crazy man. So
we don't understand him. That's why.
Yeah, I'm so misunderstood. But yes, yeah, he's a serial killer, and we got like Elsie Fisher in it, and her sister, and we got Elsie Fisher as a shooting school survivor.
All her character was.
Yep, and the cheap scares. The scares weren't good. This commentary of it. I don't know what this was. I just feel like this one, to me, right when the 355 was a fever dream, this one's another fever dream. So I did not enjoy anything good about this. And in fact, I'm going back to my review of it. So let's see what I said.
You see, I have like very like brief flashes of this movie. That's my problem.
I said that like it was almost 10 years ago. Alexander Dario, Scott Eastwood, remember the Clint Eastwood song?
Yep.
Was in it, and Trey Songz.
I remember that
at the
one.
big screen in 2013 with Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
3D, and then they had Leatherface.
And then they had Leatherface. Like, I'll take that.
Leatherface was good because that was a pretty cool movie that was good. And then even the Michael Bay 2003 one was really good too.
And then they bring back the legendary character, but not the original actress. The main character, Lila.
Well, because
not Lila, but like
Sally Hardesty.
As a schooling Lila was the Elsie Fisher's character, but the characters don't have strong logic traits, don't have interesting backstories either. There's very little to root for, and the narrative structure has major issues, and then the film provides social commentary that feels disconnected from today's audiences. And I also said the film does have gory elements, but the number of times I checked my phone tells you this film is boring. That's what I wrote for mine. And one of the producers is Fede Alvarez, who directed Evil Dead, which is a 2013 remake, and also directed Don't Breathe. And Fede is also one of the modern horror filmmakers, and I feel like now he's losing a spark.
He kind of is, because he started off well with Don't Breathe, and then he started off with Evil Dead. Like, I like the 2013 Evil Dead. Then he did Don't Breathe, but then he did Don't Breathe 2, which everyone's like, wait, what? And then now he produced this, and we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think he's going on this weird steady slope. I am watching a series that he worked on called Calls, which is an Apple series, and it's like this like strange events and not news, but like phone calls coming through. But it feels like a podcast series, but it's not. But like they're all like little short stories. So I'm just checking out that right now. But he worked on that series, so I don't know if he was busy working on that, because I think at the same time this was also being made. But yeah, don't forget, we might get our sequel for this. But Netflix, leave Leatherface alone. Fede Alvarez, leave Leatherface alone. Yeah, this was definitely the worst. Do you have any dishonorable mentions before you discuss your frustration with your?
Well, first, tell me your number one and yours, because mine's gonna be long.
Okay, so my number one, or actually, do you know what? I'm gonna just mention my dishonorable mentions first. Here we have the Kevin James film Home Team. We can't forget about The Royal Treatment, which we show, starring Laura Morano. Hotel for the Holidays, which is a freebie movie, which also stars Mena Massoud. So he's not on this list not once but twice with dishonorable mentions. A film called Butter, the Peacock horror film They Them, The Unfortunate, where the crawdads sing, which I saw like during my Christmas break, and I was like, yeah, good thing I didn't see this in theaters, because I would have been really disappointed. Windfall, which is a Lily Collins film. Thor: Love and Thunder, Jurassic World Dominion, The Noel Diary starring Justin Hartley from This Is Us, Christmas in the Caribbean, and a film I think should be a watch-worthy commentary episode called Private Property, which is a Ashley Benson, Shiloh Fernandez film, which is absolutely laughable. It's kind of like you know how we did our commentary for or review for You Get Me, the Bella Thorne movie?
Yeah.
Think of like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not good. But yeah, those were my dishonorable mentions that were so close but didn't crack the top 10. But for my number one, it is going to Netflix's racy Marilyn Monroe movie, directed by Andrew Dominique.
Really? That's number one.
Yeah, I
know you did not like, you got that someone. This movie is interesting with you because you showed me that someone had a little comment to make to you on your post about it on Instagram.
Yeah, if you want to see all that, go to my Instagram. I was not pleased about Blonde at all. I thought it was absolutely not just disturbing, but an awful take that pays homage to a Hollywood icon. It shows the horribleness of what Marilyn Monroe went through, and knowing that no one has a proper say in this, and knowing that this is just a fictionalized version, like they adapted it from a book that somebody wrote, like almost like a fan fiction, I want to say, but it's not, doesn't feel as true. There's a very serious rape scene that happens that is just disgusting to watch and just witness. Like it's horrible. And knowing what Marilyn goes through as a character, like Ana de Armas tries her best with this performance, but nothing in this film feels like worthy of an acknowledgement of her performance. Yes, she's been nominated, for a Golden Globe, and then she got nominated for a SAG, but I feel like we've seen her in better performances, and I think she's just a talented actress. I just think this is like the wrong take to adapt the story of Marilyn, and I don't support anything what this movie says. It does. I feel disgusted watching it, and like knowing I gave, my 2 hours of my life to it, and just something that just treats and looks at women horribly. I think it's a bad take. I don't support anything that went on with this movie. And knowing that Brad Pitt was a producer, it's kind of upsetting to know.
Oh, Bradley.
He's done some great work, and knowing that he produced this, like, I don't know what anybody was thinking. And the director and Brad had previously worked together for Killing Them Softly, but this is definitely one of the weirdest films. Like, it doesn't do anything interesting with the cinematography or anything. It doesn't leave a lasting impression on anything. It's just not good, and I just don't care. And Marilyn Monroe deserves more respect. The woman has been gone for so long. If we're gonna get a true adaptation of it and show the hardship she had, make it respectful, because this is not respectful to her character at all.
Well, I mean, I know this movie was cursed because they said they went to her grave to ask for permission for Anna to play Marilyn Monroe. I'm like, yeah, this seems like this will be a good movie.
Yeah, that's right. You go to the grave site itself to ask for permission. Yeah, you bring a psychic and you go, yeah.
She's not as good. I don't know. I just didn't think the movie, it was kind of boring too. I didn't really.
It's a very boring piece too.
I feel like it was just made for people to look at Ana de Armas naked. That's it.
Or just do like the wind white dress scene, because she does that in the film.
Yeah.
And I don't care about her love affairs that happened. I'd rather see her as a career person, and I know she was beautiful and everything, and she was taken advantage of. So, but I think we didn't need to see her. How do I say that word without getting demonetized from this? Because I feel like we've said some words already.
Capital R, lowercase.
Not. It starts with an A, and knowing she has that, and it's like,
oh, capital A, lowercase I, capital D, lowercase S.
We could spell it out, but
oh no, I didn't know that one. Honestly, I just zoned out of this movie because I was like, why am I watching this?
I just felt this was just, I'm shaking my head as I'm sitting here, and I'm just like, yeah.
It's okay. Let it out.
Yeah, I'm like, getting my heebie-jeebies even thinking about that hard scene that happens in the film, that hard R scene. And I'm just like, yeah, you don't really see it, but it's just like,
you know what's happening.
You know what happens. It's not. It just is. It gave me like that same effect. The girl in the girl with the dragon tattoo. It's just giving me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. Like, all right. But what's your number one, or do you have any dishonorable mentions?
So my number one, of course, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I will get into it before I get into dishonorable mentions because it's gonna be quicker. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the original one.
Me too.
the original one I feel like is a great film to study on how that really changed the slasher culture, because before then it was only a few films. Before that, you had Psycho, and then you had Black Christmas, which I think was the same year as Texas Chainsaw. So like two movies were released the same year, or I think around the same time. I could be wrong. If we can get a Black Christmas original one release date real quick. But I love the original one. What made it special is that it wasn't violent. It just left everything to your imagination. That's what I loved about it. So seeing that the fact that we have not had a great Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie in literally 50 years since the initial release of the first one is a damn shame, because the only ones that are sort of good is the Jessica Biel one 2003, Leatherface in 2017. That's it. Like the
Wait,
rest
that
of
means you don't like Boomer.
Okay, that's a guilty pleasure. Boo, yeah. Okay, Next Generation, that's in its own class. That we still need to do a watch along of that one.
You're still gonna do that.
That is in its own class. That's in like my special corner of guilty pleasures. But like pure film, the Jessica Biel one and the 2017 one, because the other ones are trash. 2 wasn't good. 3 isn't good. The one with Jordana Brewster was not good. Because the only good things about the Michael Bay movies, I think, are Arlie Ermy as Sheriff Hoyt. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Alexandra Daddario one with who was it? Trey
Songz and Scott Eastwood.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? It looks so cheap. And then Leatherface is pretty cool. And then I was like, okay, we're bringing back Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Bet. And then that movie was so stupid. The girl, her character was just school shooting survivor, literally nothing else to her character. Her sister, I hate it because she's like, the men with their guns. I said, oh no.
And then at the very end, the sister gets shot.
Just freaking that. They were setting up the fact that they're getting in the car and it's a self-driving car. So she just got yeeted out the car, got her head cut off, and I cheered. Me and my mom and I laughed too hard watching this movie. That wasn't funny because we didn't realize that the first person to die, Dante's girlfriend, literally in the subtitles says Dante's girlfriend. They didn't even name her.
Yeah, they didn't have her listed. They didn't even give her a character, no respect or nothing.
And the funniest part was when he was on the bus and then we put out the phone, like, you try it and you're canceled, bro. I was like, that is the worst and greatest line. And he killed everyone in the bus. I was like, yes, kill all these assholes. And then what makes it even funnier is that they tried to do the Halloween 2018 original survivor tries to kill, the killer. But here's why it doesn't work in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One, Leatherface has killed so many people. He's not going to remember one girl who escaped him back in 1974. Like that just won't happen. 2,
unless he has a picture of her and just attached it to his bedroom.
He did it. Like, he's not like Michael. Michael remember who beat him. Like, she didn't beat him. All she did was just hit him with the soccer. The truck driver hit him with a soccer wrench.
Yeah.
And she just escaped. That's it. Like, he probably just like, yeah, whatever. And then like B, both of the actors who played Sally in Leatherface the original, they're both gone. Like, yeah. Marilyn Burns, she passed away, and Gunnar Hansen passed away. So that fight didn't really have that emotion to it. Like, I'm just like, oh, these are just actors playing the characters. It's not really
just with the same, the name of it. Just nothing that adds to it.
At least with Halloween, it was even in H2O, it was Jamie Lee Curtis and what was it, Nick Castle in that one?
Yeah.
It was them, the original 2 people who played them. Like that's what made it special. Or even it was James Jude Courtney in this one, but still Jamie Lee was part of it. You had one of the aspects of it. So, but to do that and then see, it just didn't work as a horror movie. This was just so bad. And then the fact that we might get a sequel pisses me off.
Yeah, he goes back to the home as our post-credit scene.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? Shut up. But my dishonorable mentions, it's Blonde, Marmaduke, Smile, Memory, Amsterdam, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, The Woman King.
I don't mind Chippendales.
I hated it. The Woman King, The 355, Disney's live action Pinocchio, Moonfall, Don't Worry Darling, and Prey. Prey was overrated.
I am surprised you put The Woman King as your dishonorable mention.
That movie was so boring.
For a movie that had female action in it and was reportedly, like, I didn't get to see it yet. I want to. So I was surprised. I was like, some of these ones that you mentioned, I'm very surprised about. But you did watch Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes, on HBO Max. And
Mac, what is your quick thoughts on Don't Worry, Darling?
It was fucking boring. It was so boring, and I already knew the ending, and I was like, whatever. I'm like, wow, this is really even worse. And Harry Styles is not a good actor.
Oh, all right. Well,
he needs to just. I think with Harry Styles, he's not ready to carry a movie. The worst part that's because he's 28 too, right?
I think he needs to like. I made a TikTok about this recently, and I'm happy that Marvel's not giving up on him just yet. I think the roles that he was thrusted into between My Policeman and Don't Worry, Darling, they were big, huge leading performances. And knowing what he did in Dunkirk, it's like he was a supporting character in Dunkirk.
I think he's good at supporting now, like that little guest cameo, but he's not ready to star in the movie yet.
No, I think he needs to find some acting teachers. Like they threw him right away.
Yeah.
Because, he took over Shia LaBeouf's character for Don't Worry, Darling. And then, he got casted right away in My Policeman. And then he got awarded at TIFF for him and Emma Corrin with their performances in that. And it's like, when you saw them, their performances were just, his performance was just, he has the charisma to bring it, but he needs more time to figure himself out as an actor and play around with himself and figure out what he's strong at and what he's good at. So he has confidence. I can see that, but it's just not there. It's not there yet. And I think he needs to figure that himself out with all this performance stuff first. But I don't want to give up on him yet because I love the man. But
I gave up on him a long time ago.
Oh, all right. Well, folks, that's our worst movies of 2022. What is your worst movie of 2022? Let us know. And
why is Don't Worry, Darling on the list?
No, Mick. Well, it's a dishonorable, but it didn't.
It was boring.
Well, I'm sure I would have made your top 20, but we did 10.
I almost made this list of 15 like I did with the best list, but we'll get to that next episode because next episode will be our top 10 best movies of 2022. And that would probably be a long video episode because we got a lot.
Yeah, we're going to do, we'll probably just do 10 because I have a lot. We have a lot. And then we got some other exciting episodes coming up. We're close to 100.
Yes, our live episode 100.
We got to figure out what we're going to do for that.
We'll figure it out in the coming months.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring on some previous guests, but
we should do a live script read of something.
We could do that.
B-movie.
Oh God. But guys, we're going to talk about this year. We're going to talk about Quantum Media. We're going to do our Oscar special. We are going to talk about the Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher film that's going to be dropping on Netflix. So yeah, we got some exciting stuff to round out the year so far. But yeah, follow us on our socials, which will be linked down in the description. If you're following us on socials, thank you. And thank you all for always your support. And thank you to our listeners on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to. Thank you so much for supporting us. And we can't wait to bring you more new content in 2023.
Baby, you a star, I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue honeys, I'm too money. And my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah.